It's playoff time. Let's go. Yes, it's playoff time here, baby. Let's go. Yes. Can you just win us the Super Bowl, please? Hello, folks. Today I'll be doing my NFL playoff predictions, and I will be going through the NFC first, and then after that, we'll be going through the AFC, and then we'll get to the Super Bowl predictions to wrap it up there. So, the first matchup we have in the NFC is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the weather report for this game, it's going to be very stormy and very rainy. There's a 70% chance of rain with the wind speeds of 22 miles per hour with a high temperature of 72 degrees. So one side of the field's going to go very windy, so it's favorable to one team to chuck up the air like Brady does, so he'll get over like 500 yards by just... And Cena where landed, like Happy Gilmore's shot. Like that. Now let's talk about both teams real quick. The Eagles have been on a win streak and getting very hot lately, but they've been playing some not good teams. But has that helped them gain a lot more confidence? Yes, it has. It might not like an impressive win, but it's getting their confidence up, so that's very important for the Eagles to gain their confidence. And just looking at their offense here, it reminds me a lot of the Baltimore Ravens offense. Nick Sirianni is very aggressive like Harbaugh. Second, Jalen Hurts running it, except he throws more, but he's like a mobile running QB like Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. This offense is like designed to run the ball a lot, which they have the #1 rushing offense in the league, which is impressive. And they like to get their tight ends very involved. So this is where I see it being Baltimore Ravens offense, where they're just going to try and steam it and try to get to it and run the ball more and use a lot of their blockers with the tight ends like Dallas Goedert and try and get him in there. On third down conversions, this offense is a 45.2% conversion. And then on the defensive side, they've given up 42.9 percentage of their opponents converting, which is 23rd in the league. That's not good. Fourth down situation, they like to even go furthermore, which on offense, they're 45.8% chance of converting. That's not that good. And on defense, it's very good at stopping. So the defense is good at being clutch on fourth downs, just not on third downs. And the same goes for the offense on third downs they're good at, but not fourth downs. So it's like a mix-up, basically. And the Eagles' offense is pretty good in the red zone of attacking and getting some touchdowns. The defense is not that good. It's one of the worst in the league, and they got to improve on that against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are still a strong team despite their weapons not being there. An interesting sample data I found about the Philadelphia Eagles this season is they've lost against all playoff teams in this playoffs. They've lost against the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Niners, the Cowboys, and I'm not going to count the Cowboys last week one. That doesn't count because that was basically a practice squad for the Eagles of facing up against the Stars of Dallas. That doesn't count to me. That was a meaningless game to me. But they lost against key playoff teams, the Buccaneers also, and the Raiders. And when you calculate all that of how much points they're for and how much they're giving up, for the offense-wise, it's 26.1, and then for giving up, it's 22.6. That's where I see it. Eagles' offense is doing good, but they need to do better against playoff teams. They need to win, and they got to do a better job of that because, as I just mentioned, they've lost to all playoff teams. Now I know in the early part of the season they weren't that good. Past few weeks they just started getting to it, but you got to take care of those playoff opponents. You got to do that. Now some injuries for the Eagles. You have Miles Sanders, a little bit questionable what he's going to play is what Nick Sirianni reported. Landon Dickerson, questionable. Jalen Hurts is dealing with a high ankle injury, so that kind of limits his running, but he can still run the ball. And then Lane Johnson is another guy too. Basically, it's the offense that's dealing with like the offensive line has got to get healthy. So the three keys I would say for the Philadelphia Eagles are: one, win the time possession because you're playing against Tom Brady, one of the greatest QBs of all time. If you maintain time possession, you win that better job at limiting what Tom Brady can do on the field. Take your time. Just take your time like with running the ball. Just keep doing what you're doing and get involved by using your tight ends still and using Devontae Smith. He's going to be open because the Buccaneers are 23rd in passing on defense. That's not that good for the Buccaneers defense, so utilize it and attack their weakness. What I would like for the Eagles to do is a little bit of play action-wise, or shotgun I would like more. Really play action because the Eagles have just been running the ball, so kind of fools the Buccaneers defense of what they're going to try and do. We saw the Eagles play the Buccaneers early in the season, and they just started running the ball in the second half, barely ran in the first half, and you saw the difference of what I made. And then another thing is play smart. You guys got to play smart. Do not be stupid. You got to play smart because you're going against one of the best teams. You're going against the reigning Super Bowl champions. Take care of business, Philadelphia Eagles. I hope you guys win so you go visit us so you can go kick your butts. But hey, we'll see what happens. So go Eagles. Yay, that's just because I don't want to see Tom Brady. And now let's go to the Buccaneers side. With Tom Brady's record against playoff teams this year, he's 3-1. They have a very good offense despite the lack of weapons he has. He's without Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans is dealing with an injury. Even though he's playing, he's limited in his playing ability. But Tom Brady's still using his weapons, like he's finding Scotty Miller or his tight ends, and he also uses running backs too. And for the defense, they are not the same from last year when they were dominant and destroying the Chiefs' offensive line, chasing after Patrick Mahomes, because they are not the same because they've been dealing with injuries. The run defense is still good for them, so that's something to watch out for when you're going to watch this game. Right up against it, it's going to be like a stalemate for a little bit in that game, so that's going to be something to watch out for. But this defense has got to get better, despite the injuries in the secondary. They still got to find a way to improve. The main job for the Buccaneers is got to take care of that run. But injuries for the Buccaneers: Chris Godwin out, as I just mentioned, he tore his ACL, I believe it was. Mike Evans is dealing with ankle injury. Levante David, he should be coming back, I believe. Shaq Barrett, he should be coming back. He's dealing with the MCL injury. And then Jason Pierre-Paul, we'll have to see. He's questionable for the game, though. But the three keys, I would say, for the Buccaneers. 1, Buccaneers are a very pass-heavy team. Take care of that wind mileage. That's going to happen in the game. That 22 miles I just mentioned. Go use that ability because Brady could literally just go like, 15 yards because the wind mileage if it's on his side of the field. So use that. Buccaneers use the running game and use a lot more of that because that's something they've lacked. So that's something the Buccaneers got to do. They got to use the run game. They also, the defense, as I just mentioned before, they got to stop Philly's run game because Philly has gained over 200 yards per game. That's something the Buccaneers defense, which they've been pretty good. Bucs defense has been good at the run, so they got to stop them. If they stop them, then they're going to abandon it like what Philly did in the first half. We'll see if Nick Sirianni wants to continue it in the second half, which he should. And then finally, this is Tom Brady's revenge game. This is his revenge game after what happened in the Super Bowl with the Patriots against Philly. Philly special, remember that, Tom Brady? You lost that to Nick Foles, and you tried to do the exact same play at Philly special, and you couldn't catch it. And you're still mad about it. Let's see if you win this game and get your revenge. I have the Buccaneers winning this because I just think the Bucs are too good for them, and the Eagles' defense is very questionable to me, despite what people think. I think it's going to be a close game because of the weapons that Brady has lacked. I think that brings it to a closer game. So I think this will be a score of 28-21. I'm going to give it to Buccaneers. Next game we have is the 49ers take on the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers, they won last week in overtime against the Los Angeles Rams to clinch into the playoffs. That was a pretty good game from the Niners, and Jimmy G was doing good. But just looking at the Niners, they are a gadget team. They like to run the ball a lot. They like to use Deebo Samuel, their MVP on the field basically. They like to use him there in all different ways. So Kyle Shanahan likes to use a lot of run, but he also likes to use some trick plays in there too. And look at the Niners' injuries. It's not that bad. The punter, he's questionable because he got hurt in the game. He got taken out. And Trent Williams will be having a shoulder brace, too, to help him so he can play in the game. So he'll play. Elijah Mitchell, he should be able to go. He's dealing with a knee injury. So Jimmy G is he's still dealing with that thumb injury. He's hurt, but he's going to play through it. And there's only so much that Jimmy G can do. He can't do a whole lot because of that injury. So that gives a chance for Dallas to take advantage of that. So that's something to watch out for. And the Niners are 3-4 against playoff teams. So that's okay-ish, I would say. That's about 50-50. The offense and defense have been gaining the momentum the past week. The offense and defense have been clicking. They have been going after it and just going right at it. So my keys, I would say, for the Niners, for them, Jimmy G, play smart. Use Deebo Samuel. Keep using him. Blitz Dak Prescott because he doesn't run a lot. And then watch Dallas's receivers. Now we go to the Cowboys. So the Cowboys, their injuries are Diggs and Pollard and Gallup. Gallup is out for the year. Diggs should be playing and Pollard is questionable for the game. Cowboys offense is pretty good. The defense, that's something I've liked seeing this year. This was something that concerned me last year. The defense has not been good in recent years. This time for once, the defense does something. Micah Parsons is the MVP of that defense, I will say. And they have very good talent on both sides, as I mentioned before, with the receivers, Zeke, Micah Parsons, Diggs. And the Cowboys, interesting fact about them, they are 1-4 against playoff teams. They got to do a better job of that. And that's something they'll have to do this week. One of my keys for the Dallas Cowboys to stop Deebo Samuel, because he's going to get the ball in his hands a lot. Blitz Jimmy G, because there's so much he can do. So Micah Parsons, literally just ram him, just knock him out. Dallas defense, you got to take advantage of that. Be very good in your time management, because that costs you some games. You got to do a better job of time management. That's something you got to watch out for. I'm going to take the upset here. I'm going to take the 49ers here because I liked what I've seen from the 49ers past few weeks. Dallas, they've been good, but not dominant, as I like to say, even though it's not been very impressive wins. They lost to the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and I just think this Niners team is better. I just think it, despite Dallas having better talent, I think the Niners got it here to divisional round. I think that's going to happen. I think the Niners are going to win it. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be by a field goal, so I'm going to give it 27-24-ish. Niners will move on to divisional round, and so will the Buccaneers. Let's get to our final game, which is on Monday night. Our game here is the Cardinals versus the Rams. Let's look at these teams first. The Cardinals. They are pretty good on the defense. They're getting some guys back. They got a mobile running QB. They lost DeAndre Hopkins. He's not going to play this week. Running game is a little bit questionable if they're back. So if James Conner and Chase Edmonds, they're a bit questionable there. Phillips, he's also questionable on the defense. There's a bit of injuries, even though JJ Watt, he might be coming back to play in this game, but that's what I mentioned before. They're not the same team that they were when they were undefeated to start the season. They're not. They've lost a couple guys. Go through it. They're trying to get through this thing. But the good thing about the Cardinals, they're very good on the road. So that's something to watch out for. And the keys I will say for the Cardinals, they got to get involved with the passing. Stop Cooper Kupp, one of the best receivers in the league, and force turnovers. Because whenever the Cardinals force turnovers, they win the ballgame. So that's something the Cardinals got to do. And I think they got a shot at that. The Los Angeles Rams are 2-4 against playoff teams. They are a bit overrated, I will say. Matthew Stafford has struggled. He has not been good in recent weeks. He has made turnovers a lot. They've lost momentum because you can go back to last week's game against the Niners. They were cheering all the sidelines. Sean McVay went on the end zone and the ref kicked them off. And they were like all celebrating when they were up 17-0. And then they choked it. That is something you cannot do. Even against your arch rival and when the playoffs are on the line, technically, you got to do a better job of that. That's something that is, you can't celebrate too quickly. Not think about what's going to happen next. You're going to think it's all over and it's too early. You can't do that. You just can't. And so the keys for the Rams, I will say, is use Cooper Kupp. Get the running game involved because you got Cam Akers back, which is very impressive. So that's something that the Rams have got to take care of is discipline. Matthew, not turn over the balls and use Cooper Kupp. That's my keys for the Rams. And I'm going to take the Rams here because I think they learned their lesson from last week. And the Cardinals are without DeAndre Hopkins too, so that's where I'm leaning to the Rams. I still think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be about 30-24, I think it is. It's going to be a close game too. I think it's going to be, this is like a tough game for me to choose between because both teams are not impressive, but I got the Rams. Second round of the playoffs. We have the Green Bay Packers taking on the 49ers. I'm going to go with my team because one, it's at Lambeau Field and the Packers are undefeated this season at home. So that's something to watch out for. Two, the Packers are getting their guys back. Their stars who got hurt in the season, they're coming back. They're not getting all the guys back. They're not getting Elton Jenkins or Robert Tonyan, but they're getting a bunch of stars back. They're getting Jair Alexander, Billy Turner, Zadarius Smith, David Bakhtiari, Josh Myers. And they're getting another guy back, Whitney, and they're getting Randall Cobb too. So that's something to watch out for is the Packers get all their guys back. It's cavalry. The cavalry has arrived for the Packers, and they're getting reinforcements just in time for the playoffs. That's something the Packers have got. And I don't think the Niners are going to like that. I don't think so because Nick Bosa is going to have to go against David Bakhtiari. That's not good for Nick Bosa. Niners defense, they're going to struggle against that. And the Packers offense has been pretty good. And the Packers defense, yeah, they've been good too. They've literally been good too. And they're getting their guys back. That's something to watch out for. Now, we've seen what happened with these two teams early in this year with Mason Crosby kicking the game-winning field goal. We saw what happened there. It got down to the wire. We've seen these two teams in the playoffs. NFC Championship just 2 years ago. Niners ran it down our throats. And they have to stop the run. And they're getting their guys back. I think they learned their lesson. And our secondary is pretty good. The Packers are going to take care of business and beat the Niners by 10 points I'm going to give it to. So I'm going to give it 27-17 Packers. I got to give it to them. Because I think this team, we're guaranteeing the NFC Championship as we've known before. And I think the Packers are too much for the Niners to deal with. I think they are. So I got the Packers moving on to the NFC Championship, hosting in Lambeau Field. Second round game is the Los Angeles Rams take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this could go either way. I think this is a game that Matthew Stafford is going to hurt himself. He's going to throw a lot of turnovers like last week against the Niners. And I think the Buccaneers are going to take care of business. He knows how to win these games. He's won a lot of Super Bowls. and I think he's got this. I think Brady's going to win it, and it's going to be a rematch in Green Bay. I think this is going to be a close game, too. I think this is something you're going to have to watch out for. Buccaneers, I think they're going to win it here. 35 Buccaneers and 30 Rams. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Buccaneers just take care of business. I just see Brady just winning. I just see it happening. And now on to our last game of the NFC. We have is the Green Bay Packers take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A rematch from last year. Now, we all know what happened last year. The Packers got crushed and they lost, and the Buccaneers went on to win the Super Bowl. Yes, we all know that. I watched it myself, folks. I watched the disappointment. This is the time where I think we finally learned our lesson in these games where we have to win it. I think this man learned his lesson. I think he's learned it. I think this man is going to win it. Yeah, I think this man's going to win it. 1, Bucks don't use the run that often. They use screen passes to Leonard Fournette. 2, Brady's without his best guys. Packers, they got some good guys. Now, the key for the Packers, I will say, is don't have Kevin King play. That's bottom line. Don't have Kevin King playing. Just don't. Unless he gets a redemption of a pick 6 against the Buccaneers, then go ahead. I don't want him playing. And I want Brady to get sacked. I want my team to get the revenge that they deserve. I want that revenge to happen. And I want them to win it in Lambeau Field. That rematch. I want that rematch. And I want the Packers to win it. I want them to win it and beat the Buccaneers. And now I think this is going to be a very close game. So I have the Packers win it. You might think I'm a little bit biased. The Packers are a pretty good team. I think they're the best team in the NFL. You can go look at the stats. You can look at all the players they're getting back and all of that. However way you want to do it, put in the comments and let me know. But I think this team has got it. And I think they're going to get to it. I think they finally get over the hump after being the NFC Championship the past 2 years. I think they finally get over the hump and win it. The Packers are going to win the NFC and represent the NFC and go into the Super Bowl in LA. I think that's going to happen. And I got my team. Right through them all the way. I got them going to the Super Bowl. All right, now let's go over to the AFC. We'll start with our first game. Sunday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Terrible towel. Versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes. Woohoo. I think this is going to be a blowout. Mahomes wins it here. I just think that's going to happen. Big Ben, he's in his last dance, but the Steelers are just not that great. Their offensive line concerns me. Najee Harris is pretty good. Big Ben, he doesn't have the arm anymore. He doesn't have that arm. Big Ben and TJ Watt are going to have to carry this team. And I just don't see that against the Chiefs because the Chiefs are just too powerful. I just see it happening. I think the Chiefs are too good. The weather report for that game is going to be cloudy and about 25 degrees. It's not going to make an effect really. I think the Chiefs are going to get here. I think they got it. All right, now let's move on to our Saturday Night Football playoff game. The New England Patriots Empire and the Buffalo Bills. So for this game, the weather report says there's a 30% chance of snow, wind mileage 5 to 10 miles, and it should be 9 degrees at the game. So it's going to be a very cold game. It's also $66. I just looked it up going to the game. So if you want to go to a cold football game, there you go. Go to Buffalo for that. Patriots won before and the Bills have won before. I think the Bills are going to win it. And I think it's going to be a close game. I just think the Bills, they're just a team I think you got to watch out for. But they got to take care of stopping the run. Why the Pats won the first time around. That's something why the Bills lost. Mac Jones only threw 3 times in that game. And then you go see the next time, last time you guys play them, the Bills destroyed the Pats. So I think the Bills are going to win it here. I think it's going to be a good game. But I think the Bills are going to win it here. And I'm going to give it 35-24, I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give the Bills that. I see the Bills winning it. I just got a feeling that. Got a feeling the Bills. Wrap it up with our first playoff game. Las Vegas Raiders take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Just looking at these teams, Bengals offense has been on fire lately. The defense has stepped it up. So I think the Bengals are going to be pretty tough for the Raiders to take on. And the Raiders, they've just been lucky in some wins. Like last week, that was a definite win. That was an impressive win. They took it down to the wire. They almost had it. They almost let it be a tie too. And they came back in the game. So let's just say I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Bengals are going to take care of business and win it. So I have the Bengals win it 35-25. I got Bengals win it. And so I got the Bengals moving on. Let's go to the second round. Woohoo! We'll start with the Tennessee Titans game. The Bengals will be taking on Tennessee Titans. So I think this is going to be a high offensive game because these both offenses are good. The Titans are getting Derrick Henry back, and the Titans have also been impressive against playoff teams. So I really like the Titans' chances. The Bengals are it's the first time around for them forever. I don't trust them because of the playoff experience like most guys don't, and like Joe Burrow. I don't trust them game past the Titans. I just think the Titans, they have the playoff experience and have done it. I think Derrick Henry's going to run over their throats. I think it's going to happen, but this is going to be a high offensive game too. So Titans, I'm going to give it to 35-30. I'm going to give it Titans. I think it's going to be a very high offensive game, but it's going to be a good one too to watch out for. So I got the Titans going to the AFC Conference. Next game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Buffalo Bills. Now, we've seen this before of where the Chiefs took on the Bills last year. The Chiefs, to me, they struggled earlier this year and then they turned it around. The offense is getting clicking. Defense is like, it's like average. It's like not like that great. Bills, they've been up and down, but I think the Bills, like they got the offense like better, definitely. Defense is like ish too. It's not great. I think it's going to be very close, go down to the wire by a field goal. I just have a feeling that it's the Bills. For some reason, I just have a feeling that the Bills are going to win it. I'm going to go for the Bills. So I'm going to give it by a field goal here. 31-28 Bills. I don't think the Chiefs aren't big of a threat. They're going to be a threat to the Bills, but not enough though. So I think the Bills are going to win that game. And so the Bills will be going on to the AFC Conference. And now we get to the AFC Conference. Titans, Bills. This is something I wanted to happen. I don't think the Titans win it here. The reason why I'm going to pick the Bills over this is because Titans, they've been up and down a little bit. They have been very good in the recent weeks. I think this is Josh Allen's year to get to represent the AFC. I think that's going to happen. So now we get to the Super Bowl now. Yay. Did you hear that? You're in the Super Bowl. All right. Okay. So we're in the Super Bowl. The Bills, Packers. Will the Bills win their first Super Bowl, or will the Packers get the fifth? Because of me, you may think I'm biased. You can decide how you want to. This is going to be a good game, I feel like. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this is because you have the two of the best QBs in the league, good defenses, if you want to say. I just think the Packers are going to win it. It's the time. I think it's Rodgers' time to win it. And I think this is his time to win it in LA. I think it's his time. So I'm going to give it to the Packers as your Super Bowl 56 champions. Woohoo. Yay. Super Bowl. Woohoo. But I just think this is the time for the Packers to get the redemption back. I think this is our time to win it. And we've been here before. We suffered the losses. You can go back all the way of losing the NFC Championship Conference. And I think they got over the hump. And I think this is their moment where they shine. And I think they did it. Rodgers wins MVP of the NFL and the Super Bowl MVP. So I think the Packers are going to do it here and win the Super Bowl. So those are my playoff predictions for the NFL. And I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts of what you think of who you think is going to go far in the playoffs. Who do you think is going to lose in the first round? Dallas. Who do you think is going to go far and who's not? I'd like to hear your thoughts about that, guys. Leave a like on this video, please. I would appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel because this has been fun doing this. And I'd like to continue in more. And I'd like to build this up. I'd like to get that. That's the goal right now. To get to 100 subscribers. That's the goal right now. So let's get to it. Tell your friends, tell your family to subscribe to the channel. You can go back to my previous videos if you want to watch, either covering the Packers, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, etc. I appreciate you guys who have been watching this, and we'll be coming up with more videos soon. But that's a wrap here in this video. Oh, I'm just getting something by my announcer here. We have a live reporting from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, also in the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's get to them too after this. All right, let's go.
Steelers making the playoffs is an absolute problem for the rest of the AFC. We want it more than any other team in the league. We have the most to fight for. Ben Roethlisberger being in his last season, we're going to send them off with that Super Bowl ring. And I think we have a pretty good shot through the playoffs. First, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch from a few weeks ago. This time with a healthy defense, we can go beat them. After that, we got the Titans. We already beat the Titans this season. Easy win. After that, the Bills. Also already beat the Bills this season. And now it's in the straight to the Super Bowl. And I do not see Big Ben Roethlisberger losing the Super Bowl for his last game ever. I picture him holding that Lombardi trophy, win that Super Bowl MVP, retiring an absolute legend.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go to Tampa Bay tomorrow. We're going to beat Tom Brady again, and he's going to cry about it like he always does. And we'll start our journey to the Super Bowl as a 7th seed. Let's go.